What's up, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Goal Line Dynasty. Today, I was going to let Tyler do the intro, but I guess he's a little afraid to do it. So welcome into our channel. Today, we've got a little keep trade cut. So I'm going to ask Tyler 3 keep trade cut questions. He's going to ask me three keep trade cut questions, and we're going to go from there. So Tyler, I'm going to let you get into it here in a second, but I just want to let you know, I put together 3 doozy situations for you. So I'm very excited to watch you squirm it out.
Oh, great. I think I have 3 decent ones too, but I think I've kind of figured out what I would do. But the first one, I think I kind of know which way you're going to lean here, because you really like a guy and you also don't like a guy at all, and then you kind of like a guy. So the first one is Brandon Aiyuk, Christian Watson, and Quentin Johnston.
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to keep Brandon Aiyuk. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The reason why I'm keeping him is, one, I believe in the talent. I believe in his ceiling. I'm fine with his floor. And I think if I were to go to any trade calculator, Brandon Aiyuk might actually have the least trade value out of these guys. So I feel like I have to keep him just based off of the value return and the fact that I believe in him. When it comes to trading and cutting, it's kind of close between QJ and Christian Watson. Christian Watson, I've started to like him a little bit more as this offseason goes, but for anyone that subscribes to our channel and has been following us for a while, they know that I'm not a big Christian Watson fan. And I honestly think that you might get more in a trade for Quentin Johnston than you could for Christian Watson right now. Obviously, Watson has his fans, but point being, moving from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love is a big deal. Romeo Doubs is going to be healthy this year. They just brought in Jaden Reed as well. I mean, both of those are big deals. Rookie tight end Luke Musgrave is getting raving reviews in OTAs. That's a big deal. Christian Watson is going to face more target competition this year and have a much lesser quarterback. So I'm going to cut him. I'm going to trade QJ because he is, a top 7 or top 8 rookie selection in Superflex leagues. So there's definitely value out there. I do like his upside. I think he's got a large range of outcomes. He could be a total bust, could smash through his ceiling. I don't know, but I'll trade him away and I'll let someone else worry about it.
Yeah, I think the upside with QJ is so immense, being that he's got the potential to be Justin Herbert's long-term wide receiver 1 and Keenan Allen replacement, basically. Not that him and Keenan Allen do the same thing, but in terms of who's going to get the target share in that offense. And with Kellen Moore there in LA, I think QJ is just has such upside. I honestly think I might hold QJ and trade Aiyuk, and I'm pretty with you on the cut Watson. But I think there are people who are on the Brandon Aiyuk train. I think there's probably just as many that are on the Christian Watson train, but I think I'll sell Aiyuk. I'm going to hold QJ for the upside, knowing that he could be a total dud. But yeah, shoot for the moon, baby, right?
Well, nobody likes Brandon Aiyuk more than I do. So if I'm in a league with you, feel free to send Aiyuk my way 7 days a week. But Tyler, first one for you. I know you hate aging assets, so I put together one of 3 aging assets. Keep trade cut. Davante Adams, Austin Ekeler, and George Kittle.
Ooh. I think I'm going to keep Davante because I think that it doesn't matter who his quarterback is. He's just freaking dominant. And in reality, there's probably not that big of a difference between Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo. So considering he just came off of like one of the best years of his career at that age, I'm going to hold Davante. And then in terms of Ekeler and Kittle, I feel like I can get more for Kittle on the market just because he's got, a year or 2 under Ekeler, and because Ekeler's got, questions about is he going to be staying in LA long term. So I think I definitely know I'm going to keep Davante, and then I'm going to trade Kittle, cut Ekeler.
See, it's kind of funny because all 3 of mine are different than yours. I think that at this point in the offseason, I would actually keep Ekeler. I would trade Davante Adams, and I would cut George Kittle. If you asked me once the season is in session, then I'm probably keeping Adams, selling Ekeler, and trading Kittle. Big discrepancy there is wide receivers own the offseason in terms of value. Running backs own the regular NFL season in terms of value themselves, right? So I think Eckler's value goes up this time in 5 months, where Adams is probably going to stay about the same, give or take. And then I'm cutting George Kittle kind of just because he's the odd man out here, and he's the only one in this group that does have, consistent health issues. So maybe someone would use that against me in the trade market. I think overall it's pretty fair. Like, I'd be happy to have any of these three guys on my contending football team, but I'm not going to split hairs. I'm not going to fault you for keeping Adams and selling Kittle and cutting Eckler there.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize that hold until the season starts and then trade was an option for me. But
I got to make it difficult for you, buddy. I can't be too straightforward, right?
But this one actually involves Davante Adams. So it's Davante Adams, Nick Chubb, and Jahan Dotson. So 3 very different assets here.
That is interesting. So it's Adams. Who was the second one?
Chubb and Jahan Dotson.
Okay, that's interesting. I first initial reaction is, I hate to say it, but I'm probably cutting Dotson. I believe in his upside. I do. I think he could hit his ceiling, and I think he could even maybe contest Terry McLaurin for, being the quote unquote wide receiver 1 in Washington. Plus, it helps that I believe in Sam Howell, but Dotson hasn't done it yet, and there's no scenario where he returns what Davante Adams is. And I know Dotson is about 8 years younger than Davante Adams, but I think I'm fine with taking 2 or 3 seasons of Davante Adams over, 5 to 7 seasons of Jahan Dotson. So Dotson's going to be my cut. And then I'm going to hold Adams and I'm going to sell Nick Chubb. And I know I just got done saying that I don't love selling running backs in the offseason. I think Nick Chubb is an exception, though. Cleveland hasn't brought in any running back competition, and a lot of people think this means that we're in for a career year from Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb is always good. He's always good, right? So there is a lot to like about him, but nothing's going to change. I don't think he's going to have any sort of significantly higher workload this year than he did last year. I think that's just kind of hive mind, right, with what's going on and recency bias there. So I think Chubb's value is actually pretty damn high for an aging running back right now, and I'll take that trade.
Yeah, and I think going into this, I was probably preferring Dotson over Adams, but I mean, as you said, it's like you still got 2 or 3 years left out of Davante, and he hasn't had any real injury concerns as of late. And Jahan Dotson does not have that ceiling. Although it would be so hard for me to let go of Jahan Dotson off my roster right now. I so want to see what he does in his sophomore campaign, hoping that he stays healthy.
I am really excited for Dotson, and it does hurt a little bit to say that he's my cut in that group, but fortunately, that is just the way the cookie crumbles. You can't hold them all in these videos. But next one up for you. I think this one might make you squirm a little bit. Maybe one of the options is going to be easy, but we'll see. Keep trade cut, Daniel Jones, Kenny Walker, and the rookie 106.
Ooh. So 106 is either Gibbs or JSN. Ooh. Wow. So
I had a feeling this one might make you sweat because I know you like those rookies. I know you did like Kenny Walker, and I know you like Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Walker is almost like becoming a buy because of how people are just like fading him right now. Wow. So JSN, Daniel Jones. I feel like Daniel Jones is so undervalued too. I drafted him in both of my startups, my Superflex startups this year. One time I drafted him in like the 4th. The other one I just drafted him in the 6th, on like the end of the 6th, which I was hyped about. Oh God, that's tough. I'm gonna keep the 105, 106 because I'm gonna keep the 106 because I'm hoping that either Jahmyr Gibbs or JSN can be just such a supreme positional advantage versus Daniel Jones. I'm gonna trade Daniel Jones and I'm gonna cut Kenny Walker because the market is soured on him. I'm going to trade Daniel Jones because everybody loves quarterbacks. Although I've tried to get some offers with him as my QB3, and nobody's bitten at all.
Yeah, I like watching you sweat. I had a feeling that one was going to get you, but I completely agree with your thought process on all 3 of those. I'd keep the rookie pick. I'd trade Daniel Jones, and I would cut Kenny Walker. I think Kenny Walker should have more value than Daniel Jones, but I don't think he does because, like you were saying, he's slowly becoming more of a buy because, I mean, dude was a top 5 running back when he was playing last year. And I know Charbonnet being added to the mix is not ideal, but it's kind of unfairly tanked his value, like so much so to where I don't think you're going to get what you should get in a trade for him. And then, like you were saying, if Gibbs falls to 106, I'd be thrilled. I wouldn't count on it. So I would pencil in 106 as JSN. And I mean, everybody loves JSN. We know what he could be in the NFL. We know he's ended up in a good situation. We talk about it all the time. DK Metcalf is going to be the quote-unquote wide receiver one in that offense, but NFL teams are more and more these days getting 2 solid wide receivers that kind of feed off of each other. And I think DK and JSN is going to be one of those situations. Yeah, I would hold that, and I would also trade Danny Jones.
Yeah, that was a really tough one. That was a really, really tough one.
But what's your last one you got here?
My last one, I almost forgot. This one is, I think, 3 fairly similar assets. We're going to call it's Tony Pollard, Najee, and the 107. It's a 23 mid first, but I know you would easily hold the 106 or 105, so I'm going to throw the 107 at you.
Yeah, I think this is a very good one. And in a 1-for-1 between Najee and Tony Pollard, for example, I struggle to make a selection there. I think Pollard might be better in 2023, but I think Najee Harris should be considered the better dynasty back between the two. I mean, here's the thing with Najee Harris. I think he could rebound in a big way this year. Kind of, one of my selling points with Brandon Aiyuk, for example, was 2 years ago. He was the wide receiver 68 or whatever in the first half of the season. Then he was a top 15 wide receiver over the last half of the season. Look at Najee Harris last year, right? He was abysmal over the first half, and then the back half of the season, I think he was the RB5 between weeks 10 and 17 or whatever it was. So I think Najee Harris, his Lisfranc injury that he had last year was severely overlooked by a lot of people. He's going to be fully healthy this year. They beefed up the offensive line a little bit. Kenny Pickett's got another year under his belt. So I think Najee could return to form. And we were calling him a top 5 dynasty running back just 2 years ago, right? And I think he could throw himself back into that conversation, or at least the top 6 or top 7. So I am going to keep Najee. In terms of trade value, I think I would trade the 107 and I would cut Pollard. Reason being is because 107, there's rookie fever, right? That is the sole reason why I would trade 107 instead of Pollard, is because I think that I think that you could get more than Tony Pollard in a deal for the 107 on draft day, if that makes sense.
Yeah, which is interesting to say too, because Pollard is going earlier than like Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison, Zay Flowers in startups. So, I mean, that's just the difference between a startup and like trade market right there. But I agree with you. I think that Najee I think he's got an extra year of having, that job security that Tony Pollard doesn't have, being that he's about to be on a franchise tag. So I would prefer Najee over Pollard, which is funny for me to say because I love Tony Pollard and I'm a Dallas fan through and through. I've been a Tony Pollard fan for years, saying that he's been better than Zeke, and I'll say that for the next 5 years because I was right about it and I don't care. But yeah, I pretty much agree with you there.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because I know you are a big Pollard fan, but it is what it is. I'm going to move on to our last one of the video here, and again, I think it's a very difficult one. So obviously, Superflex format. Breece Hall, know you love him. Chris Olave, know you love him. And Anthony Richardson.
What are you doing to me right now? What was that?
I told you, I specially catered these specifically for you because I want to put you on the spot in front of all these people.
It would be hard for me to trade Chris Olave for Anthony Richardson straight up, although I could be fatally wrong about that. Wow, you're a jerk for this one. And unfortunately, like, Breece kind of has to either be the trade or the cut because he he's going to come out this year, and it's not going to be the 20 points per game that we were seeing once he got that full workload last year. He's going to come out slow this year off his ACL. I can't believe you just did this to me. I'm going to trade Anthony Richardson. I'm going to keep Chris Olave, and I'm going to cut Breece Hall. Thanks.
Final answer?
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I completely agree with you. That's the exact same thought process that I would have had. Chris Olave is the safe guy. I'm going to hold on to him. Anthony Richardson, while he could be a top 5 dynasty quarterback this time in a year or two, he's got that Cam Newton, Josh Allen type of upside. He's also a very raw prospect, and things go wrong with guys like that all the time. And if I would rather have Olave than him, and I think you would get a massive return for Anthony Richardson on the trade market right now. And to your point, Breece Hall is going to start off the year slow, and we all know that, and that's kind of baked into his value right now. So close call on all 3 of those, but I completely agree with you in keeping Olave, trading Richardson, and cutting Breece Hall.
It feels like you just went to my dynasty teams and just picked guys straight out of the starting lineups and started screwing with me.
I just know you, man. We've done enough of these videos now. I think this is video 64 or 65 since we started this channel last summer, and slowly learning how to take advantage of that mind of yours, bud.
Yeah, I know, and we're starting to think more alike as time goes on too, which is good. But we still do have our big differences.
It's terrifying though, isn't it? It's me and you getting trades done in any leagues that we're in together is next to impossible, because we value, I would say, a good 80 to 90% of players and assets in the league. We value them very similarly to each other.
Yeah, and neither of us really have any incentive to pay that little extra tax that the one of us always wants. So literally, I can't remember the last time we got a trade done. It was probably, in my baby days when you robbed me for Damian Williams for a first.
Selling high, baby. Selling high.
Might have been the last trade that we've ever made together, but I'd have to look back to see.
Well, at least I can't take advantage of you anymore. But that's going to do it for us here on Goal Line Dynasty. We haven't done a keep trade cut video in a very long time, and honestly, bud, I forgot how much fun it is to do. So if this video does well, if you guys enjoyed it, let us know in the comments, and we can keep pumping out this sort of content. If you didn't enjoy it, well, we'll probably be able to see by the amount of views that we get, so you don't need to tell us if you didn't like it. But for myself, for Tyler, for Goal Line Dynasty, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.